everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chanel in the City. I'm your host, Chanel Amari, and I have a very special guest today. I'm a fan girl, I'm a fan of hers. She has an amazing Instagram meme account. It's very popular, and she's the host and creator of the popular and amazing pop culture podcast, Not Skinny, but Not Fat. Please welcome my special guest, Amanda Hirsch. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being patient. I was late. I can't believe this happened because it's never happened to me with Zoom. You said Murphy's Law, which I thought was really interesting that you said that. Do you believe in that?
I believe in all that shit. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing, but like we're always like all about jinxing and
Yeah.
karma and Murphy's Law. There's always like a reason. It's always, I mean, it makes it easier to like blame it on something. You know what I mean?
So true. And that it's so funny because so I've been following you forever and I want to get into how you started the Instagram account. But before that, so I come from an Israeli home too, like you. And I didn't want to tell anyone about our interview today because of the fact of like Murphy's Law and jinxing and Ain Hara and all this, which we'll get into what that means for the audience who like doesn't speak Hebrew. It means like evil eye. And you speak Hebrew at home, like we'll get into like your account, but like I didn't want to tell anyone about it, which is so ironic because I didn't, but then it still
Shut
happened.
up. See, so maybe we shouldn't believe. So that's the thing. Yeah, I've my whole life. It's like, oh, don't tell your friends that you're getting like this job interview until after the interview, or stupid shit like that. Which I think with the years I've like relaxed about, and I'm like, listen, if I don't get the job and I told my friend I'm getting this interview, then I'll just tell the friend that I didn't get the job. Like what's gonna happen? But yeah, I don't know why Jews are so superstitious with the baby stuff too. Like I had a baby
Yeah.
and you know
Mazal tov, by the way, congratulations. He's so cute. I love seeing him on Instagram. And I
thank
love how
you.
much love you give him. Like, honestly, moms need to show that more with their kids.
I really was taught that this is so cheesy and this is like whatever, but it's what a kid they don't need anything else. Like they need love and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not money, it's just like they need love and support. So I was raised that way by a single mom and she's the same way as I am. Like both of our lips hurt at the end of the day from like how many kisses we give and like all that shit. But with him, like Jews, like the really strict ones won't buy anything for the baby
Right.
until the baby is here. And if they do, they're the ones that are like are a little less strict. They'll buy it, but they'll like keep it at their parents' house. So it like doesn't count, which
Yep.
is like so annoying for the parents. Cause imagine the kid is like, I'm not going to keep it in my house, but here's all my shit for you to keep for months.
My sister did that. And my dad was like, excuse me, I'm taking your shit and I'm throwing it out. And you know how Israeli men and women can be very harsh.
Wait, so your dad's Israeli?
My dad's Israeli. My mom's Colombian, a Colombian Jew, but she speaks Hebrew fluently. So because she's like
That's
basically Israeli.
and they named you Chanel?
Can you believe
That's
that?
wild.
Well,
That's
because he
so
was in the fashion industry and he was like very like he wanted to be Americanized. He's like, oh, my daughter is special. Meanwhile, fast forward, your daughter's a loser living at home with you. So it's all good. You have a lot of things to look forward to.
yeah, it's better to be just like Amanda and then there's nothing to live up to. It's just
No,
a
by the
bland
way, I
name.
love your name. I used to pretend to want to have like an Amanda or Samantha, which
Mm,
because those are like, accepted cool names in America.
gotcha. Yeah. You always want what you don't have. Yeah.
So yeah, so talk to us about so first of all, the account. I'm obsessed with your account. We're all obsessed with your account. Over 290,000 followers, well deserved. Because I've been
Thank you.
following you from the beginning, and
Stop.
you work. Yeah, I've been following you from the beginning. And then when I finally was like, she's Israeli and Jewish. Oh my God, she's a goddess. Are you kidding me? Like because you root for the people that more from your culture,
hmm
obviously, and I don't know. The account is so fascinating to me because you add your own twist of humor, and I always get my pop culture news from you. Like it's a quick fix. You don't bullshit. I love that you're very real. You give your opinion, but you also stick to facts, which I think is important as a journalist. So, talk to us about why you started the account. Like, how did you get into that?
It's so weird because I always think, because I don't know if this is just how I was raised thing, but I am every day, like I take a step back, whether subconscious or conscious, and I'm like, hold the fuck up. Like, I'm appreciative. Like, I'm hashtag blessed. You know what I mean? Like, even the little things, like the smallest things that have happened to me since starting this account, I've been like, thank you. So, like, I've appreciated every step of the way, even when I wasn't making any income from it. I was giving my heart and soul to it, not because I was like, oh, I want to, have a lot of followers. I want, like, it started so, which is annoying to say, because when people are like, how, like, what tip would you give someone? And I would just be like, listen, I just started it, and then like it happened. That's so annoying, right? It's not that, but when I started it, I think it was 2016. And I think meme accounts were just like kind of becoming really big. And I was following them, like Fat Jew and all that shit. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny. Like, people are writing funny things on Instagram, which is like a photo platform. And I was always like writing. So I had like a dumb blog and all this shit. And I was like a writing, not major, minor in college. And so I've always written like journals and journals. So I was like, oh, like I want to write things on Instagram. That seems fun. So it started like really lame memes of me like just being like, oh my God, don't you feel so fat when you like eat a lot of food? Like, I literally was just like writing the things that I was feeling, which the name was, literal, but also not, because I've always felt not skinny, not fat. And I don't know, the name also just like kind of, which today I don't know if I kind of regret it, because some people take it the wrong way. And
But it's like metaphorical too, no?
yeah.
Right? Like, it's not just, you're like, yeah, if you want, Chanel, if you want to put your spin on it.
Yeah.
I'm always like coming to your account. I'm like, well, I feel like she's very metaphorical today, and I'm going to take this as a metaphor. Okay.
No, a lot of people do. They're like, you're not here nor there. Like, you're somewhere in the middle, and that's okay. Yeah. I don't think that I was like thinking that deep into it. I think I was like, oh, this is a cool name. I wish I could just bring myself back to that moment. But when you're in bed at night and you're like thinking, you're like, you were so tired during the day, but all of a sudden you can't fall asleep. Yeah. So it was one of those situations, and I was like, I want to open a thing tomorrow. What am I going to call it? I'll do it when I wake up. And it was one of those things that whenever I go to sleep at night, I think about things, right? You're like, tomorrow, maybe I won't eat bread, or maybe I will start working out, or and then you won't do the thing. So this is a thing that I thought at night and then did the thing in the morning and just started. And it was like my family following me. And then it was their friends. And then because it started as a meme account and people would tag people in like things that they would relate to. So it grew like that, right? It's like, oh, you share it and you share it. And then I wasn't even showing who I was, which is so unlike me, because
which was also cool, by the way, because we didn't know who was behind the account at first.
Right. But it's very unlike me, who likes being, the center, like, to me be like, no, like, nah. So I think I started showing myself, not that anyone really cared at that point. And there weren't even stories, I don't think, for a while.
Oh, right.
And it just kind of, I'm like the opposite of like, let's say a bachelor person's curated lifestyle blog Instagram, where everything is monotone and pretty. Mine is like, I think chaotic is like, unfortunately, the way, because it was memes and I still love like funny memes. But then I was like, wait, I have lived for celebrity gossip my whole life. Maybe my followers will find this interesting. So I started kind of like just sharing the shit that I would usually just like DM my sister and be like, oh my God, did you see Courtney? And whatever. And then I like shared, and then I was like, oh, everyone else is into this too. And then sort of instead of DMing those things to my sister or friends, I would just post them. Mm-hmm. So then it's like this chaotic energy of like me, my life, my baby, celebrity stuff, pop culture stuff. And I mean, and that's kind of like me, right? That's why when people are like, this account, no, but that's like me. Those are the things that I care about. I care about, my life, the people around me. And a lot of my day, I do care about what's going on in like the world of celebrities, like where I'll like talk about it in my life. You know what I mean? It's not like, so this whole time that it's been, that the account was growing. I was doing it because I loved it and because I feel like a calling to share this stuff. And it's fun for me to share it. And it's fun for me when people send me things that I maybe haven't noticed. So it all kind of just, I feel like when you're really, really passionate about something and you love it so much, and even when, again, I wasn't making a dollar or like,
And you weren't looking for fame. I think that's an important lesson that I think sometimes we get caught up in the fame instead of the authenticity. Like you said, you didn't even want to show yourself. You just started to share what you thought was relatable and what you thought was funny. And I think we forget that, sometimes we forget that.
That's why it's hard because it's like on one hand, if people ask you for advice, how do you start? You want to say,
Right.
be real, be this, be that, and also know like what your purpose is for coming on here. If you want to become Instagram famous or whatever, which a lot of people do, right? Then why? And what do you have to offer? And what are you going to show? And what are you going to do that's different? I wasn't thinking all those things, right? I was just like, oh, memes are cool. I'll write them. And then I think, I can't say about myself, like why it, and everything is relative too, right? You're like 290K, which is like, I'm proud of it, but like there are accounts with like millions and millions and millions,
I know, but that's hard. I've been at 19,000 for like 2 years because it's hard with organic people. That's like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's impressive. 19,000 organic followers, but 290,000. And I've seen you work at it. It's not like one day you popped up, you were like, poof, Cinderella.
Right. That's the thing that, my friend said the other day when I was like yapping her ear off about me. I was like, me. And this thing, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, she's like, no. And she was so sweet. She was like, Amanda, like, you for years, like, it's not, she said exactly that. She's like, it's not like, oh, one day. It's like, no, you've been talking about this, doing this for the past 4 years, giving your life to it. So blab away about like the successes of it now when you're starting to see it. So, but I'm very like, I like to remind myself of those things because I'm like, I am constantly like, I don't deserve this. Like, even though it's like you worked for it, but then it's like, but I'm doing what I love. Like, who would have thought that my dream, that I, in a really weird way, manifested what I didn't know that I was manifesting. Do you get what I mean?
Totally. That's what I was going to ask you. Did you know you wanted to be a host or an influencer on camera before you started Not Skinny?
Yeah, I was always a dumb bitch. Always. It's like, it's not even cute. Like, it's not even
You
cute.
need to put that on a t-shirt. I'll buy fucking 10 of them.
No, because you know what? Like, I remember, and this is like lame and disgusting, but I remember, first of all, I went to acting classes when I was like young, when I was in Israel.
I didn't see, people don't need to know. I love when like influencers also tell fans like they do this because they don't realize that like you took that's a big deal.
I took acting classes, and when I was living in Israel after college, I wanted to also minor, like I minored in writing. I wanted to minor in theater in college, and I took all the classes, but I was like missing a credit, so it wasn't official. But I was always like part of the theater kids. If people know, like theater kids are like fucking wild.
Yeah.
They like every sneeze of theirs is like, over the top, and
so dramatic.
So dramatic. And they talk about sex and anal really loudly at 7 a.m. in a class. So I loved being like a little bit a part of that, but also not like a drama major.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that. And then in Israel, I went to an agency and lied and was like, I studied acting in a really prestigious place in New York City. And I like knew they couldn't check. So they signed me to this agency, which in New York would never happen, right? You can't even get to an agent without like whatever. So I got signed to an agency and I got to do some like cool things there just because I'm American and they were looking for like English speaking things. Mm-hmm. So I was always super thirsty, if you think about it. You know what I mean? I've always been wanting to do something. And the thing is, I would try to do it. I wouldn't just be at home. You know, the thing, I don't know, it's like an Israeli saying. It's like, no, people are like, I wish I could win the lottery. It's like, did you apply? Did you fill out a thing?
My dad, right. I forget the Hebrew saying. My dad always says it. And I'm always arguing with him. Like, so then why don't you do it? Oh, but I'm too old. it's like always an excuse, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
So
it's always
just
a
do it. I'm a
stand-in.
doer. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Meanwhile, I'm talking Hebrew with Amanda. Meanwhile, the listeners are like, Chanel, what the fuck did you just say? I don't understand what the fuck you're talking.
So she said, like, you're living in a movie, which we
Yep.
say all the time, which I wish was an English saying too, because I feel like it's like you're living in a movie. Like, what do you think? Who do you think you are? But and it's a fault of mine because I'll do, right? So
Yep.
it's a good thing, but where it's a bad thing, I'll do it fast. So let's say I'll be like, oh my God, I'm thinking of this. Tomorrow I'm going to do it. I'm going to open it. I'm not going to think too much about it. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be nice, but it's going to be. And sometimes it works, and could be that that's a reason why people like it, but could be that a lot of people are like, no, I want this to look pretty and, be put together. And, or a lot of times I'll send an email because I had a thought, but it'll have typos, or so I think doing and because a lot of people are like, I wish okay, work for it. You know what I mean? Like, try to do it. So I've always, I feel like, put my money where my mouth is. I wasn't just like, and I'm also very self-aware to a fault. So if I was like, I want to be an actress, right? So then I lied to the agency, got in, but I was also aware that I didn't go to every audition they sent me to. I wasn't waiting on lines trying to be like an extra. I was like, if they send me something cool, I'll go. And if it's not super cool and it's not on the schedule that I can go. So, and I knew that if you really want to do this, you have to put in the work. You have to go to every single audition. You have to, work as a waitress for forever. So I know I wasn't willing to do that. And I'm not sure that, but yeah, I've had dreams from here till Timbuktu. Okay.
But that's what I love about like I've had dreams till Timbuktu, another thing, because you're so real about it. I remember also in the beginning, I don't know if you remember this, when you started going on stories, I remember you talking about auditions and being like real about it and being like, listen, I do some acting, but I'm not going to be like online. And it's just interesting that you're real about it, but then you do get the same opportunities that I've seen other A-listers get, right? So your account has become popular. Your podcast has become popular. I mean, I would say you're just as influential, right? That's my opinion. Most fans' opinions that follow you is just as influential as a celebrity. I mean, how do you set yourself apart?
Did you see what I got before we started the podcast?
What did you? Oh, on the Instagram?
Yeah.
Wait, was it the most recent one? I don't think I checked.
I got the everyone wait for just for me was a really big deal because I still get so excited about this stuff, right? I got the Kris Jenner and Chrissy Teigen safely
I did.
thing.
I saw that. That's when you know you. Hello, bitch. That's when you know you made it because.
Bye.
But because look at all this. You know who got it? Girl with no job. Who's another? There was certain people who got that wouldn't get it if you're not influential. That's my point. Like, it sounds snobby to say, and I'm not saying that like you're saying, oh, you're better than that. I'm just saying it's really nice to see someone who has worked hard, has accomplished her dreams, is a family woman. You listen, I'm 36. I didn't know you can have it all. When I see you, you have an amazing husband, you have a great love life, you have a family, a beautiful son, and a great career. It's nice to know that a woman can have it all, and you have to work for it. I do agree, you have to work for it.
That is so
It's
sweet.
fault,
Then we go like this. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
No evil eye. No evil eye.
No evil eye. Exactly. No evil eye. But that's what I was gonna say. Like, how do you how do you become this influencer, but also a journalist reporting the news? I felt that was a little struggle for me. Like, people couldn't see me two ways. They could only see me one way. Does that make sense? So I think that's why I haven't kind of got crossed over, if that makes sense. If you want to elaborate on that topic, because I think your opinion means a lot.
I think, and this is so, because I think I don't think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking about how do I do this, but also which sometimes, again, it could be a flaw, right? People could be like, how are you out here saying this if you were saying that? People can have opinions, but I don't know. It just sort of happened. And you know what? Along the way, a lot of times, for instance, let's say a year ago or something, right? When I was a meme account and some people knew me, some people didn't. Some people just followed to get a daily dose of a funny sentence, right? And then this blonde dumb bitch pops up and is like, he, not everyone was interested in that. So I remember getting like, if I'd post a personal picture, all of a sudden seeing a bunch of unfollows, and I'd be like, fuck that shit. I don't want people here who don't want to see my face. Also, I'm not trying to be a meme account, anonymous. And no, I knew at some point, right? It all happened kind of in phases. At the beginning, it was like, I just want to, and then when I saw it was starting to get popular, I was like, well, I want myself to be in it. And like I said, I would notice even up till, let's say, a year ago, or I think the percentage of people kind of, it just became that my people are all there for all this stuff. And that's what I want. If you're not here for all this stuff, I don't want you here. If you're not here to see, like, I want people to follow me because they liked what I like, but they're also interested in my take, in my, what I have to share, because do you go what I mean? I don't want people to tag me and be like, to get all the scoop. No, because you might just see Noah one day, my baby. Do you get what I mean? You might just see my baby one day. Surprise. It might be a whole day of seeing what Noah's eating. No, I always post that's a lie, because every day has like a gazillion stories, but you'll see Noah eating, and then, Chrissy Teigen, and then,
I
something
love
that was
that.
funny.
It's variety. It keeps me, I feel like keeps the audience on their toes. It's variety content.
And the thing, like, so what I was saying is like, I was willing for my end goal to lose people. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I could have been like, no, this is a meme account, and there are meme accounts that grow to like 5 million, but that wasn't my goal, just to have a bunch of followers. I wanted people to follow me for me. So, and I remember I would all of a sudden, let's say there would be like a gazillion memes, right? And then I'd be like, hi. And I remember being like, damn, like you'd see a meme getting, a gazillion likes, and like a picture of me having the people that love me and are there for me loving it. But I assume so many people are like, really, like, imagine a girl popping up in your feed, but you're following a meme page. It doesn't make sense. But I was willing to kind of like weed out people and accept that, like, okay, I might not grow in followers right now. I might go down. But at the end of the day, what feels really special to me about my people, and why I know that numbers aren't always what matters, is because I do feel like every single person, and of course it's not every single person, is there for like the whole package. And it's really like, it is the best people. Like, I truly need a therapist, because I feel like the people that follow me are nicer than any friend I will ever have, that are more supportive of me, like strangers on the internet that are like genuinely happy for you, and genuinely interested in your life, and genuinely there for you. Like the other day I had an issue with Noah, and instead of calling my pediatrician, I put it up because I knew that like someone that follows me will be quicker to answer me than my
and
pediatrician.
Maybe also care about you more.
And care about me and Noah more, and send it to their father, who is the doctor or whatever. So it's a wild concept, but I think you get out of it what you put into it. Like, I've talked to a lot of people that also would be like, oh, like, why am I not, they would be like, oh yeah, I haven't had time to post this week. Okay. It is my life, and it's been my life for 4 years, 5 years, even when, again, I was a piece of, like, no one cared about me. I would be like honored if bitches or something reposted a meme of mine, like, and I'm not saying I'm above that now, I would still be honored. But I just think that I really, God, I'm going to sound so annoying on this podcast, Janelle.
No, you're not. You're amazing.
Oh my God, no, if I sound annoying to people, like, just deal with it. But also know that I don't mean to sound annoying. I just mean to give, so that people, like, if they want to understand this kind of stuff, which is what we're talking about, that they get the whole thing. So I'm saying I'd still be honored, but I also know that it's like a 24/7 thing that I was happy to do, even when that I did. I think that's the goal. And it's such it's so crazy, because how many people hate their job and you want to love your job? Like, I've hated every job I ever had. I've always wanted to leave early. I always wanted to duck out before time was up, like always. But I just loved it. Even if I was not making a shekel, making a shekel, people followed, people didn't follow. I was like doing what I loved. And I think at the end of the day, and it's my bottom fucking line, is that if you do what you love and you put in all the effort of like all your love and all your dedication, it'll pay off, point period, always, every time.
I love that. Do you have a favorite? Because you've interviewed a lot of celebrities on your podcast. That's the one thing also we come to your podcast for, the celebrities as well, because they're really cool. Like you've had so many cool people. Anyone that's been your favorite to interview, anyone that's been like kind of shocking where you're like, I love that person, but the interview didn't go as I would like. Or just, I mean, you don't have, whatever you feel comfortable.
No, I'm trying to think. So first of all, Carol Radziwill, I say her fucking last name wrong every time.
Raswell, right? Yeah, I want to listen to that today. That's
Radziwill. She is the bombest ass bitch I've ever, first of all, from the franchise, hands down. Like, I don't think, and it's so crazy because she told me, like, she's from Real Housewives of New York City. She was on. She was like, on the show, it looked like I was like quieter and like kind of the supporting friend, but like she's actually like a riot and a half and has so much personality and is so smart and is so funny. And so she really I became friends with her. Like she is just so cool. But no, I think most people, I had Luann on also, if we're talking about Real Houses in New York. And you know Luann.
I love Luann.
Oh my God.
She's been on. I didn't, because obviously this is about you, this podcast, but I love her because we were on New York Housewives of the Real Housewives of New York City. My podcast was on with her because we did a podcast event, and she's been on the podcast a few times. We're good friends. She's amazing.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny.
It's just funny how we're such a small world.
It's such a small world because I remember that I saw you on the show.
I want to get your opinion. You're probably like, what?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't even do my comedy. Okay, I didn't even do my comedy. I'm like, hey guys, it's Chanel. Welcome everybody else.
No, I mean, listen, that's a great opportunity. That's amazing.
Bravo. You gotta play. You can't always produce even if you're producing your own thing, you gotta play by the rules if they're capturing, because they had to capture it for Housewives of New York. But anyway,
so Lou is like Lou. Do you get what I mean? Like that was what was so wild to me about interviewing her, is like you watch the show and it's like the way, what people say about Luann. And I was like, it's Luann. That's the thing. People think that reality TV is like a lot of times scripted, and yeah, situations could be set up and people, but like those are them. Like Lou is Lou. What you see is what you get. She was like, cabaret, like I was like shook. I was like, oh my God, we're really talking about like just like on the show where everyone's like, shut up about the cabaret. That's what it was like on the podcast. Who else? Oh, did you watch that Netflix show Too Hot to Handle?
No, I heard of it though. Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good, but it was like pretty thoughty. Like everyone there was like super hot and having sex with each other. And I had on one of the girls, and she was like the sweetest person ever. I don't know. I think what I love about podcasting so much is like, as much as my Instagram is fun, it's like I feel like my baby, my main thing. Podcasting is really how you meet people. And I've even made friends through podcasting, and there's such amazing people, other podcasters that are great, but also interviewing people. It's really great until networks get involved and they don't allow you to say things and stuff.
Well, so I was going to ask you, because I'm so impressed. I know like it sounds like I'm kissing your ass, but I also love to love. I love to give love.
I love to give love too.
And I'm authentic about it. I really, honestly, you've helped me get through a lot of hard times. I'm going to say it. My audience asks me, how do you get through it? I look up to women like you, honestly. So
so sweet.
That's why I suggest, follow Amanda Hirsch, follow Not Skinny But Not Fat, follow certain people that have gotten me through it, because I'm not the expert. I can't lie and sit here and be like, listen, I know how to help you get through it, because I myself am going.
But babe, who isn't going through it? Who isn't? That's the other thing. Don't think that people, just because they have something you don't have, are happier or, you know,
Yeah.
don't have other issues. Fucking the first thing to think about, and this is how I am when I'm like sad, is like, think about the people that have the most that you would think are like, and then how, like Justin Bieber.
Yeah. That's so true. And you're right. He struggles.
So this is how like my real life aligns with like my obsessions, because
With Justin Bieber.
I'm not joking when like I'll be like, but or like let's say I'm afraid of flying, right? And
Mm.
I'll need to get on a flight and I'll be like, Kendall Jenner needs to get on a flight every day and she doesn't these are things that like make me feel better. Or oh my God, I had food poisoning like
Oh, I'm sorry.
a few months ago. Yeah, I don't think I even like
The
lost
worst.
weight from it. Um, and I was like, Amy Schumer threw up her whole pregnancy and she was fine. So like these are the things I make myself feel better. But yeah, don't think that people just because they have nice things or nice photos on Instagram. And that's why like I don't try to keep it real on Instagram. I just am. Do you get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's
Totally.
funny when people are like or like people are like when they talk about people they follow and they're like, yeah, they're not being real. I'm like, what do you mean? What are they being? Like, what are
Right.
they doing?
Like, what do
They're
you mean? I only
showing
know what real. That's what I was gonna say. Like,
exactly.
because like on your podcast, you're pretty real. So like you're gonna ask. I feel like you go there with certain questions, but you're like confident. Sometimes I'm scared if I have someone from a network on. If like, how do
Mm,
you know what to ask, and how do you know what I'm not gonna ask this because I don't want to ruin the relationship. I think also people want to know that
mm.
too. Oh, and by the way, let me know if we have a little bit of time. I know it was my fault, but let me know if we have a few minutes still.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
a few minutes. How do I do that? I think, first of all, what I always say about my podcast, and if I get asked before, like, wait, what questions are you going to ask? I'm like, first of all, my podcast is conversational, so I don't have a list of questions to
I
give
love that.
you, but I could tell you that we'll talk about, you know, the show and what's going on. And listen, it's I think like Bravo specifically, it used to be a lot chiller. And I think because of so much controversy surrounding, you know, the so many different people on Bravo, like they are like tightening the ship. But I think, listen, there are certain podcasts where the person spills the tea or, you know, whatever the fuck. But I think that just having a conversation with somebody, things kind of come up that you don't think will come up. And sometimes things are a lot juicier than, I don't mean to be like, dum, 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 did you
Right.
like do that? I think you're just having a conversation with someone and certain things kind of come up that maybe wouldn't have come up. And if they don't want to answer, I always say at the beginning, if there's anything you don't want to answer, feel free to shut me down. And you know, if you have a publicist that needs to review, let me know. But listen, at the end of the day, if articles come out after, it's good for them too. Do you get what I
Of
mean?
course. And I think what's interesting, I think why we come to your podcast, correct me if I'm wrong, also is there's more than we're talking about the show. I love coming and hearing your opinion. I love coming and hearing like the twist of comedy you add to it because it's sometimes so dark and painful that we need a comic relief. Do you know? Cause you're like, because you're real about it. Like you said, you don't try to be real. You just are. And I think that's sometimes why things happen and they come up is that when you're real, truth comes up, and that's
Mm,
hard to like push away. And I think that's why people get scared. Like, oop, we shouldn't have said that. So that's why I think we come to the podcast. It's like we're getting more deep. We're not just getting the surface of page 6. Oh, so and so from Real Housewives of New York got arrested, and doesn't even go into details. You'll go into details, then you'll give your opinion, and you'll actually say, here's why I think something deeper is going on here, you know?
yeah, I'll always listen. If I'm thinking something and if I'm vibing with a guest, then I'll always just be like, really? Like what? I'll always be myself, right? If I
Yeah.
get shut down, then I'll, you know, probably feel uncomfortable for a moment. But that hasn't happened because I'm not trying to make them trip and fall. I'm just trying to like talk about what happened. And I think sometimes like, and I actually care. I'm not, you know, questions aren't written down where I'm like, and how did you feel when Bethany told you, you know, for example, with Carol, if people watch Real Housewives of New York, I was like, what happened with Bethany? Like, I stand your friendship. Like, I thought you guys were so cute. You went everywhere with her. Like, it was such a real friendship, you know, and Carol did spill the tea, but she's not on contract with Bravo anymore, so she doesn't give a shit.
So we have to actually tune into your podcast episode.
I know it sounds like I'm self-promoting.
No, for that tea though, right? Because like you can't give us too much. Like
no. I mean, she said about Bethany that she was like toxic, and a lot of her friendships were transactional. That's the word she used.
Wow.
And she said that her friendship with Bethany seemed so real because all the other friendships are so not, and are just like business colleagues. Which, you know, with time watching shows like Real Housewives, you're like, are they really friends? Like, you kind of get the vibe already that maybe they wouldn't be hanging out with each other if they didn't have to. Yeah. Even though I know that a lot of stans of the shows like to think that, like, you know, they're actually best friends.
Well, they make it, that's why they're amazing, right? Because they make it seem like they are.
Right.
I was going to ask you, speaking of Bravo, like any favorite shows currently going on that you love, that you recommend that we should be kind of, you know, paying attention to?
Like Summer House.
I was going to say, what do you think of Summer House this season? I don't know what to do. I don't know. Because we know them. You know them also. You know all of them.
Yeah, they are. That's the thing. Yeah. Listen, Hannah's like my friend. So I, seeing her go through all that shit, I'm like, Hannah, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck is going on? And listen, I know at the end of the day, there's a lot going on around it. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of this and that. But from what I'm seeing, I'm kind of perplexed. I'm pissed that like people aren't hooking up. I'm sorry. I'm a horny ass bitch.
Yes, you mentioned that, and I was like, she's so right. You were the first person, by the way, who mentioned it. And I was like, why hasn't anyone even said this out loud?
Is it that hard to find hot single people from New York to go to a house in the Hamptons and fucking hook up?
Or even, I know this sounds, and I'm kind of being a producer here, because I've had experience with that, kind of having them hook up, whether or not, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the salacious part of it. It's like the affairs in the house. Do you know what I'm saying? It's even if it's like Paige and Carl or something. Like
make something happen. Do something. Make something. And that's what's so weird. Like the one, like Luke and Sierra coming together, and I keep on saying this, I don't think there was anything there ever, because there is no sexual chemistry. There isn't even person to person chemistry. She wants nothing to do with him. She's disgusted by him. But when she came in, she was like, yeah, it's like, what happened there? Why aren't we getting more? And why are all the girls pretending like Luke isn't the hottest person to walk the earth?
Okay, so I wanted to get your opinion. Do you think secretly, and listen, I love the girls, and this is no shade, but do you think when I watch it, I feel like sometimes they're jealous that Luke doesn't hit on them? You feel me? It's like the hot girl or the hot guy when they don't hit on you, and then you think they're above you, even though Luke's not like that. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they're not getting the attention, so maybe they're feeling. I don't know what it is.
I would have thought that maybe the summer before, like Lindsay for sure wanted him to hit on her. Lindsay was for sure feeling him.
Yeah.
But I think that, first of all, they're also, I don't know if he's like I don't know if he's like Albert Einstein, right? Like, is he the smartest cookie? Is he?
No, I feel like,
and the whole time he's like chopping wood and burping. So maybe his hotness is like unreal. Like, I had him on my podcast, and like I was Zooming with him, and I was like, he was like in Minnesota on a lake chopping wood, like I'm not joking. As we were podcasting, and I was like, but I can't hear you. Like, the mic isn't picking up on the wood chops on the lake. Like, I'm not joking. So he like took me into his cabin. He's like, oh, then we'll go in the cabin. I'm like in the cabin. I'm like, I'm married and I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but like, let's do it. So I think he's the hottest person ever. I think Hannah thought he was the hottest person ever. It was just funny to me, because at least give credit where credit is due. If you're going to talk about procreate with the hottest person alive. Like, don't say you wouldn't procreate with him. Everyone's like, Kyle.
Yeah. Amanda's like, bitch, I will send an axe on every one of you. What?
No, because even Hannah, who hates Kyle, and even who else? Other people, like, it was like, yeah, Kyle. I'm like, while Luke is an option? What? No,
Something's up.
Something's up. Or we're not getting the full scope of like what really, or like Sierra getting mad that he texted her at 10 p.m. What are you like? And people got mad at me for
Would
saying
you
that.
get mad? If you weren't married and you were single, because I want to ask you about the dating.
I would get mad if I didn't get texts.
Wow, that's honesty. I love that. Me too. I would get mad if I didn't get texted.
I'd be like, wait, I'm in this house, I'm single, I'm hot, and no one's texting me. But again, we don't know what's going on. Maybe he's not talking to her the entire day and he's just texting her at night, you know? Maybe, but like, I feel like something's off with this season because we're not getting the full picture. Again, there's like, Hannah came in, she's like into Luke, but like, we don't know because she was dating someone. So was that a real thing? Sierra and Luke came in together, but we never actually saw even a glimmer of connection, and she hates him now. It's a very weird situation. And again, summer house, a house in the Hamptons. We want single people. We want them drunk. We want them hooking up, and we want cameras on that.
Do you think, would you want to recast? Based on what you're saying, because I do agree with you, would you want to see a little bit of a recast where there is like just people willing to do it, like willing
well,
to
that's
put
the
it
thing. It's such a, well, you don't have to like, you know, have sex for me to like it on the show. But I think, listen, I hate like new people. I remember when Vanderpump Rules, which is one of my favorite shows, had new people. I was like hating that. But I think, because we like the people that we know, like Amanda and Kyle are on it forever and they're together and they're a couple. But at the end of the day, reality TV needs storylines. So we can't just have people, you know. So yeah, but then again, they brought Jules last time and it was kind of awkward because she was really trying, right? She was like willing to, she was like, who wants to hook up? She was like, she was like,
who?
She was like, I'm down. I came here. So that's great.
I wish they brought her back.
But they didn't believe, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a tough spot because on one hand, you want the people that are there that you know, but at the end of the day, I'm thinking summer in the Hamptons. I feel like romance is in the air. Like those nights where you could just be outside and like have a glass of wine and rose. Like, I don't know, like hook up. Someone.
What would you want to see hook up? Like that we wouldn't expect in the house?
I would want Paige and Carl to get back to go back in the pantry or wherever they were the first time. Or Sierra and Carl could be. People are really into Carl, which I get it. He's looking hunkalicious. He's looking.
Yeah, people are into
And he's having his best season. Like he wasn't like this past seasons. But yeah, I think Summer House is fun. It's also like the only show my husband will watch with me. He doesn't watch any Bravo shows with me, but he's into it. Oh, wow. I think it's a fun show. I think for someone that wants to get into like a Bravo show easily without thinking about it too much, Summer House is it.
Would you ever do reality TV?
That's funny because I think that like when I was talking about myself and I was like thirst monster, all the shit, like I would always be like, yeah, like, of course I do it. Right. And then if even an opportunity kind of comes up or if it's talked about, or if I think about it, really, that's the difference. You can think about something in your head, right? And you could be like, oh, I would totally do that. But then you have to think when push comes to shove, would you show your life? Would you, put everything out there? Would you want to take on like so many other people that don't know you to judge you and to hate on you? So I think that's another thing I want people to think about because I think it'll make you feel better if you're like, I should be on reality TV. Think about it. Would you really want to? Because it brings with it so much shit. Because like right now, let's say like, I love my followers. Everyone's so nice, right? Not a lot of haters. If you go on reality TV, you open the door for so many people to say whatever they want, to judge you, to judge the way you look and talk. And you're like, wait, do I want that? Do I want to show my life? Do I want to bring in a bunch of people? So I think there's always like, there's more. So whenever you're thinking, I think I want people to think about this. Whenever you're thinking about being jealous of someone or wanting something, just think the whole thing. Are you willing to put in the work to get what you want? Do you really want it? And do you want everything that it comes with? And And always realize that everything, that if someone else has what you want, don't think that they have it all, or that that means they're, happier, or just remind yourself of those things. I think it's helpful. It's helpful
Yeah.
for
And
me.
also remember also, because I did reality TV and I had 15 minutes of it, keep in mind that haunts you too, because then you have a stigma. So not every reality show is going to be successful, is my point. Not every
Mm.
reality show is going to have many seasons. So that's a really good way of keeping us on our toes. One last question before we wrap up. Any mental health tips that you you cope with, or that you can give us like advice on how to cope with and just kind of balance our lives a little bit more when we're in this, especially when we're in this industry? It's very high stressed, right?
Mm. Um, First of all, therapy and taking medication if you need it. Not being embarrassed to talk about it. I know that it's helped me, even if I'll see like an article about a random celebrity like Amanda Seyfried, right? I'll just like read an article and it's like, oh, she takes Lexapro. And that just makes me feel nice. I'm like, Amanda Seyfried. And again, it's not misery wants company. It's like knowing that this is a normal thing, that you're not alone, that you're not a freak, that almost every single person struggles. And I think it's helpful, again, not in the misery likes company, in the way that like everything's okay. We're living in a crazy world. Like I have to explain this to my mom. Like if my mom, she'll talk to me about me taking medication. She's like, what, are you gonna have to take it your whole life? I'm like, yeah, then I'll take it my whole life. And she'd be like, but I just want you to be like 100% without it. I'm like, no one's fucking 100%. So I
Yeah,
think
like,
you have to,
so true.
and know that there are good days and bad. When I get bad bouts of like anxiety and I hate my life, and I'm like, why me? Then I have to remind myself, you've had bouts of it and you've always come out of them, and you've always looked back being like, oh, remember that bad bout? So knowing that even if you have a bad bout, it's a bad bout. And I can't say bout anymore. Bout. But anyway, yeah.
Bad. I love that, because that really helps. It just makes me feel better, and us less alone, the listeners, when they know that, like you're saying, I'm normalizing it. And I think we should normalize it and destigmatize it, because sometimes I'm embarrassed to talk about, like, I suffer through depression and anxiety, because you're right. People like to put a label on it. Like, oh, we don't want you to be not normal. Just because you take medication or you seek therapy doesn't mean you're not normal. What can we expect from you and the Not Skinny But Not Fat brand? Any updates you can just, and we could stay tuned. Obviously, I'm going to have you tell everyone where they could follow you, but like anything you could share with us now.
First of all, thank you for having me. You're so cute and fun.
Thank you and by the way, I hope do you forgive me?
I do.
Because, okay,
I almost murdered you, but I forgive you.
I know, and I'm so sorry, because that never has happened, and it was definitely Murphy's Law. I'm like, this is not happening, but thank you for forgiving me and not.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
And I hope
Of
we could
course
be new
not.
friends. And
Yes.
okay, good. And you'll come back. You'll come back on.
And I'll come back on,
Okay,
and I'll eat your brain. That's
good.
another thing we
Go
say in
on.
Hebrew. "Ochel את הראש, אוכלת
Okay.
את הראש עם כפית." Not skinny but not fat everywhere. That's easy. Yeah, a lot of exciting things. That's the thing with this stuff too, is like a lot of exciting things are being talked about. But again, things are fickle sometimes. And like you said, Murphy's Law or whatever, things happen. I can't say it. No, I'm just saying there are things that are exciting. And I really do think I'm just going to keep doing my thing. If you like celebrity gossip, pop culture, babies, blondes that are sort of brunettes in the winter like me. And
we love your posts with you and your husband, so feel free to post more, because love that life. I love like looking when you're in restaurants. I think that's really cool.
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of airtime. He doesn't perform for the camera so much.
But he's supportive, right? He's like,
oh my God, he's so supportive from afar. Like he doesn't like, which is good. I don't think I would want someone to be like, so he doesn't like like me taking pictures of him or showing him too much. He's very shy. So it works because I'm really not,
Right. So, and also one tip, one thing in Chanel in the city, what's your favorite place in the city to go to that you could recommend to us to just like decompress, and just something you always love to go to?
Oh, for me, that's food. So Hillstone sushi is my favorite.
Ooh, love that. We got to check that out. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for being here. We love you. Where can everybody follow you and check you out in the podcast?
Yeah, Not Skinny But Not Fat on Instagram, Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, wherever you find podcasts, and not on any other platform.
Okay, and we love you and thank you for this
Thank
time.
you
And
for
one
having
more,
me.
one more soundbite. We're gonna run it on iHeartRadio platform. If you could say, "Hey, it's Amanda Hirsch from Not Skinny but Not Fat," and you're tuning in to my interview. It's long. You're tuning into my interview with Chanel Omari on Chanel in the City podcast. However you want to do that.
This is Amanda Hirsch from Not Skinny But Not Fat. Thanks for listening to me on Chanel in the City with Chanel Omari.